President Trump has been courting black voters, some of whom have started to reconsider their support for President Biden. But Trump's comments on Friday at the Black Conservative Federation Gala in South Carolina is leading to controversy, with some calling the remarks racist. Take a listen.
And a lot of people said that that's why the black people like me, because they have been hurt so badly and discriminated against. And they actually viewed me as I'm being discriminated against. It's been pretty amazing, but it possibly, I don't know, maybe there's something there.
That was said in front of hundreds of black conservatives. What was their reaction? We're joined now by 4 black Republicans who were all in the room. Abdul Ali, Operations Director at Frederick Douglass Foundation of North Carolina. Tia Bess, National Director of Engagement for Moms for Liberty. Kevin McGarry, co-founder of Every Black Life Matters. And Sharice Lane, a student at Florida A&M University. Thank you all so much for joining us. The Federation just responded saying in part, black Americans are waking up to the reality that the Democratic Party has taken advantage of them, and the media and the party are terrified. Our community supports the policies of President Donald J. Trump and knows full well that life was better 4 years ago under his administration. No amount of media deception or liberal race baiting will sway the minds of black voters who will cast their ballots this November for safer streets, a better financial well-being, a secure border, and a complete rejection of Joe Biden's disastrous tenure. So you all were all there. A quick show of hands. Do you believe his comments were in any way racist? Nobody. OK.
What's going on, everyone? Talk Screen here today. And we're going to be analyzing my idea or my position that I believe that black America needs more conservatives. I honestly believe that. Look, you saw from the intro. Look, the lady claimed she was baffled that a bunch of black people in the room and no one thought it was racist. That's how much of an ideological chamber I believe much of black America is in. I go based on what happened in 2022. I think 88% of the black vote went to the Democratic Party. And the reason why I say that it needs to be more black conservatives is essentially this concept here. And in the video, we'll go into more of the thinking and the rationalizations that or the positions of a lot of these conservatives and why they believe that Trump is the best option for black America. And I believe this to be true. You could be mad about my opinion. You could cry that I'm a black conservative. But there's a generational divide in the black community where men under 30 are trending towards the Republican Party. I'm a statistic. I'm 27 years old, married, homeowner, whatever I want to brag about. But I see that there's no actual benefit for me as a man voting for the Democratic Party. But I'm starting to come to the understanding that if a community all thinks the same way, can you be sure that the community is really thinking? Because I believe a lot of black America has never been really challenged on a lot of the presumptions and assumptions that they have on various topics. To think of it off the top of your head. If I think of black on black crime, black Democrats don't even want to touch it. Why? Because it highlights a problem that is not actually police brutality or external problems. That's our biggest issue. The biggest issues is our own decision making within the community. And a black conservative's main premise is if the black community do different decisions, they'll get different outcomes. That's common sense. But for some reason, when you speak of your position, such as myself, you get called ignorant in the comment section. Black people feel a very emotional, relationship with the Democratic Party. I don't know what it is, because I always hear black people, at least where I'm from, complain about how, the Democrats take us for granted. The Democrats we're in an abusive relationship with the Democratic Party, but they never want to leave. Like, I don't understand black America. This is why I say black America needs more conservatives. I don't understand black America where you guys complain about how the insufficiencies of the Democratic Party, but you don't want to take a chance on something else. Change is always outside of your comfort zone, and it seems like a lot of black Americans are uncomfortable voting Republican. And I believe that's for emotional reasons. And like my father always told me, nothing gets done with your feelings. Look at the logic, look at the facts, right? But instead of listening to me, I get labeled names, but then here's a clip from Joe Biden, and for some reason, this resonates with black America. This is supposed to resonate with black America, but it doesn't resonate with me, and I'll show you examples of why this clip of Joe Biden does not resonate with me at all as a conservative. Let's take a look.
You promised black America that you'd have our back. Do you feel you have our backs?
I have your back, and I'm not more, as much as any president has in American history since Lyndon Johnson. I've done, look, black wealth has increased by 60%. We across the board. And I wish you ought to interview some of the black the business people here, the black leaders who are here. And they told me about how they're moving. They have loans. They have direct payments that are being made by the government to keep them going. Look, there's not a single thing they can't do given a shot. Just given a shot. It's not only black, but Hispanic and Asian Americans.
Abdul, you've said that you focus more on Trump's policies than what he actually says. But as we saw when he was president, his words do have tremendous power, even fluctuating the stock market just minutes after he'd speak. Do you think that his words shouldn't matter?
His words absolutely do matter, and I'm less concerned with something said in jest, and I'm more concerned with the fact that we had a president who actually took on criminal justice reform with the First Step Act. And unlike the Biden administration and the Democrats, he set forth a platinum plan for black economic empowerment, something we've seen nothing of the sort from the Democrats.
Kevin, your thoughts as far as, do you feel that there have been some policies in the past, well, while he was president for 4 years, that black people benefited from?
Absolutely. And the number one policy, and the one policy I wish the mainstream media would cover, because it would give you a lot more credibility amongst your average folks, would be the policy that Joe Biden in his 1994 crime bill, when he says, look, we're going to get rid of these racial jungles. We're going to, basically target black and brown communities for a little $5 piece of crack. Going to send them to prison for 15 to life. And this has been going on. President Trump came in and saw the injustice that was perpetrated on the black community, especially. It was targeted. And he said, no, we're going to dismantle this.
As you can see, that messaging, right, from a liberal's point of view, that's supposed to, that they say 88% of black Americans would agree with what Joe Biden is saying. And here's some things that I want to highlight. He talks about, oh, you give them an equal shot. I believe here in America, there's no discrimination against black people when it comes to opportunity. Outcomes and opportunity are not one and the same. And this is the kind of language games that I'm talking about with the Democratic Party, is that you went from equality to equity. You went from equal opportunity to equal outcome. And the problem I have, and as a conservative, this is one fallacy I want to point out to my fellow black Americans, is that the issue with group-based equity ideology like DEI is that they assume all groups are expected to have the same outcome, right? Why would that be the case when diverse groups have diverse behaviors? AKA, how you expect to have the same outcome as me if you don't make the same decisions as me? If I went to school and decided to become an engineer and you didn't go to school and you decided to become a janitor, even though me and you are both black, why do you expect to make the same amount of money as I am just because me and you are the same skin color? Now let's add skin color. I'm a white man, you're a black man. Same scenario, but all of a sudden, oh, it's because you're white, that's why you're making more money than me. Oh, it's because you're white, that's why you have more opportunity than me. When all that it really boils down to is choice, and your environment facilitates a lot of your choice. I made an argument here, and as a conservative, I believe this is more relevant than your skin color. I believe your location dictates more of your outcomes and your lack of opportunity than your skin color. So you're assuming that a lot of black people live in poverty. And that may be the case. Maybe based on percentages, a large percentage of black America lives in poverty. But I will say that's also a symptom of a greater problem created by who? Lyndon B. Johnson, who Joe Biden just referenced in the clip. Lyndon B. Johnson, when he came into office, he pushed the Great Society Act. During the time that Lyndon B. Johnson was pushing this Great Society Act, he was trying to help single mothers. At the time, single motherhood was only 27% of the black community. That was a sizable minority, sure. But Lyndon B. Johnson saw it as a problem. And he said, hey, we want to fix this problem. We want to help single women out. He put the policy in place. And instead of decreasing single motherhoods or keeping single motherhoods at 27%, single motherhood skyrocketed. Why? Because as a conservative, I believe Lyndon B. Johnson created an incentive structure incentivizing black women to be single mothers. And then and this is where, as a conservative, I put more of the blame on the black community for making decisions than external factors causing or incentivizing these decisions. Because at the end of the day, someone could put a bunch of incentives in front of me, but it's still up to me to be the decision maker. It's still up to me to make the choice of whether I go with it or not. So black women made a choice. I don't need no man. Jumped to 67% single motherhood after what, 1990s? And now in 2024, we're at 70% single motherhood. So if black kids are born to single parents, single mothers at a 70% clip, and stats show that even regardless of whatever time period you pick, black married couples was less prone to poverty than single white Americans, right? So this idea, oh, black white privilege, it don't matter how white someone is. If two black people are married together, raise kids together, they're less prone to poverty than the supposedly privileged white man. You see the problem here. You made a decision. Now you're suffering negative consequences of that decision, aka a majority or a large swath of your community. The children in your community grow up in poverty. That's decisions way before them, based on decisions made way back in the 1960s that your people, your previous generation decided to pick. And this is why I believe a lot of the old heads, like this is what black people call black people of older generations, of previous generations. That's why they hold on to the idea of racism, because without racism, if I eliminate racism from the equation, the obvious answer becomes, oh, the previous generation made a decision that now the future generation are suffering from. And that's the reality. And I believe as a conservative, that has more impact over our community, our culture, than anything else. Decisions that we decide to do. Hey, Black America, Biden has our back. I mean, Ukraine comes first and illegals come first, and you only have our backs if we vote for him. Otherwise, we ain't black. Critique from the black conservatives. This is why I say Black America needs some more conservatives, because you're in an ideological chamber where you don't even want to criticize your own side. And that's the case. When black liberals call black conservatives coons, doormen, what else Roland said about black conservatives? This is why black conservatives project themselves as liberals' worst nightmare, because we are. Because if a large enough amount of black Americans think like that, they'll have to change up their messaging. They can't just give us sweet nothings in our ear and say, oh, we see you, we feel you, and in 4 years don't do nothing for you. Then when 4 years, when it's time for election season, to come around and say, oh, look, you know, I got barbecue in my purse. I got hot sauce in my purse. Hillary Clinton, right? They pander to you because you show that it works. Because politicians only care about getting into power. And they do whatever works that gets them into power. And what seems to work with Black America is sell them a dream, sell them feelings, pander to them, make them feel seen, make them feel respected, give them anything they want, even though it'll end up destroying themselves with it. Bill Clinton's policy of giving bank loans to unqualified blacks because black people felt discriminated against. Even though if you look at statistics, black people have on average the lowest credit scores compared to other groups of people. Yet black people will see that, oh, I'm not getting the same outcome as this Asian man. Discrimination. But it's not the case. It's your behavior. It's your qualifications. You don't have the qualifications to actually leverage this loan, but you want it anyway because you stab your feet and you demand it. And the Democrat Party said, okay, here, baby, like an enabling child. And then you get your loan. 2008 happened, and then you complain about how, oh, you was affected. Black people was the most affected during this recession. Yes, because you were barely paying off your loan. You were barely paying your loan, and that's why you lost a significant amount of black wealth. And now you're in a negative. Where if you just followed the law and say, okay, I can't get this loan, you would have been spared the negative balance, the debt, but you weren't, because you went with your feelings. And then the same people who complained about not getting rejected from banks for a loan went back in 2008 and said, damn, there should be a policy to prevent people from putting themselves in this situation. We did. You called it discrimination. And this is the problem that I think a lot of black Americans don't see, because they're so trusting of the Democratic Party. All I'm saying is have the same energy. If you're skeptical of the Republican Party, have that same energy for the Democratic Party. But if I'm looking at the numbers, it seems like Black America don't. But then in the comment section, they'll pretend that they are skeptical of both sides. Okay, the Democratic Party is the lesser of two evils. Okay, the results are in. They don't look like the case. Illegal immigration hurts black people. Black people are complaining about it now, but you voted for a party that stands with illegals. And he still thinks you can't get IDs. He still thinks we're too stupid to use the internet. Poor kids are just as messed up as white kids. And LBJ only had black votes back because he wanted our votes, which has always been true about the Democratic Party. But Biden totally has our back, y'all. Message from a black conservative. And this is a perspective a lot of black people are not exposed to, because statistically, Democrats are more likely to block people of opposing political opinion. That's why in a lot of black America's, I guess, in the black American communities, that's why they go, what? This is a black conservative? This is why they make such caricatures of black conservatives. This is why they have such big fantasies and imaginations of what we actually stand for. When the whole core premise of their vitriol is that we just happen to be black people that think differently from them. That's the reality. I'm not trying to appease myself to white people. It's just white people happen to agree with what I agree with. And that's all I really care about. I don't care about the skin color of people who agree with me or not. I like people who agree with me. And if people who agree with me happen to be mostly white, that's fine. I'm not a racist. I don't care about their skin color. But black people do for some reason. This is what happens when you see color. Seeing color makes you a racist. I'm sorry. If my opinion is somehow invalidated because large swath of people happen to agree with me, that's a you problem, not a me problem. And I think that's what a lot of black America needs to get past. Right? Another anecdote, right? We'll talk about homicide deaths. Look at the amount of homicide deaths in majority white, black communities, whatever. Illinois, Michigan, Missouri, and Illinois. 40 to 52. Look at the difference. 56% difference, 47% difference, 46% difference. Deaths by race. Black people are disproportionately represented as victims of violent crime, and black people are overrepresented in committing violent crime. So why is black America surprised that black men or black people are disproportionately in jail? Make it make sense. Black on black crime is the biggest issue in black America if we're going based on the numbers. If you're going based on the narrative, that hurts the Democrats' subscription for it. Police brutality, when only 11 black men died at the hands of police on average, but you see thousands of men going into the ground because of what another black man decided to do to them. What's the biggest issue? Which option would you focus on to save the most black lives? This is a conservative. Only black conservatives will be willing to point this out. But we're coons. What's more pro-black? I'm trying to save the most black lives possible. Focus on police brutality where it rarely happens. It happens. It rarely happens though. Or something that happens more probable than not. As a black man, myself, the biggest threat to my life is someone who looks like me. Because based on racial crimes, when within a racial group, black people are 5 times more likely to kill each other than a white man's likely to kill another white man. Imagine that. But the problem is, it's not our fault. Democrats sold us this dream of, oh, no accountability. Oh, nothing's your fault. That's a lie. You play a factor in every encounter you do. If you keep getting fired from a job, eventually you have to look at yourself and say, okay, what I'm doing to get fired from this job? It's something with me, because it can't be, what are the odds that every single job I went to was racist against me? What are the odds that every job I went to was a bad job? Eventually you have to start looking at yourself. And I think that's the message that a lot of black conservatives are trying to push. But, I digress. I want to finish off this clip with this final clip from the interview. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I want to show you a clip of how the interaction went. And you can see the difference between how black conservatives talk and how black Democrats talk. Black Democrats seem like they want to appeal to your feelings, to your emotion, to a narrative, right? Because at the end of the day, like I said, narratives can't stand scrutiny, but the truth can. And that's why I'm not scared to get questioned about my beliefs. I'm not scared about getting called ignorant, because then when I demand answers, a lot of y'all can't give it to me. Right? When you see how the conservatives act, they say, hey, this is why I'm voting for Trump. I don't see that with Democrats. I see you shouldn't vote for Trump because he's a racist. That's what I see mostly from black Democrats. But, I digress. Enough rambling from me. Let's look at the clip.
It's about time that somebody started telling the truth. I mean, he's only speaking to what some black folks have experienced for a very long time, which is a disastrous justice systems in many cases. And ultimately, we can all see this playing out right in front of our very eyes. I wasn't offended or didn't feel like anything he said was racist in any way.
Former President Trump also made a statement about his mugshot taken as part of his Georgia case. Let's take a listen to that.
And you know who embraced it more than anybody else? The black population. It's incredible. You see black people walking around with my mugshot. You know, they do shirts and they sell them for $19 a piece.
Kevin T, I want to bring you in here. Do you feel that that comment was in any way off color?
Not at all. I mean, the reality is that, we see a president that has been prosecuted and persecuted. And a lot of people in the community, especially in the black community, who have felt that there's multi-tiers of justice, are seeing that played out in front of their very eyes. And they're saying, yeah, I can relate to this guy. This guy is going through some things that either myself or my family have gone through. And this is a very relatable moment for a lot of people. So seeing this mugshot as a big, to the media and to the political pundits it's a big deal, and it really does resonate within the community.
So did anything sound like coonish to you, Black America? Like this is what I'm talking about. Like it's like you could obviously see what he's going with it. It's like, yeah, like black people felt for a long time there was a multi-tier justice. If you was a white man, you get a different sentence than if you were a black man. Right? And then Trump saying he said, oh, now Black America, I see your point. Right? And as a conservative, I'll even argue that a lot of the places that put a lot of people in jail was the Democrat-controlled areas. People talk about the corrupt justice system, New York and all this stuff. They're dominated by Democrats. Democrats like Kamala Harris, her own history of charging people for weed and weed possession and sending them under the jail. Kamala Harris, your VP, who black people voted for, but they claim they care about criminal justice reform. Now the Democrats are doing the same thing they're doing to you, to Trump. And Trump said, oh, black people are identifying with this. Racist. But you don't care about the points. You don't care about the substance. You just mad that there's black people that exist in this world that thinks differently than you. And this is why Black America needs more conservatives. Because then it won't seem such an anomaly, and it'll look more like, oh, you just think differently. This is what happens when you have an ideological dominance. We always, like black people always complain about how our society is conditioned by the views of the majority, but they don't even see it themselves within their own community, and how they are participating in the very same game they claim white people are experiencing in. They whitewash history. Okay, you liberal wash history. Liberals, when they talk about black history, they only talk about how much of a victim and a slave you used to be. When black conservatives see history, they see how black people overcome. When America was at its worst, black people were at their best. That's how conservatives saw it. Because they were like, damn, we had a parallel economy. We started our own businesses. We had our own stuff. We had our own schools. We were married at a higher rate than even white people were at the time. Our communities were clean. Our communities were safe. We had respect for each other. We didn't kill each other at the same rate we do now. We look at history in a different way than liberals do. And you see this warped sense of victimhood in the black communities because they fell for the liberal Kool-Aid, as the liberals like to say it. But all of a sudden they want to get mad. They want to get all bothered. I think black conservatives are really liberals' worst nightmare, and they prove it every single day. I'm gonna end off this video with this clip that I found was important, because this lady keeps continuing asking them, what would Trump have to say not for you to get their vote, and see how a black conservative answer. Let's take a look.
And anyone can answer here, kind of a jump ball. Final question. What do you think about the media response, the noise, and some of the comments made as a result of the controversial remarks, if you will, that Donald Trump said over the weekend? And I'm also curious, is there anything that Donald Trump could say that would stop you all from voting for him?
For me, I would say that it's more so about policy and action instead of just talking. You know, someone can talk a good game all day. They can appeal to Black voters if they want to, but it's all about policy and what you're doing. That really stands out to me. Like, for instance, there are two big policies that I agree with that he has passed, such as things on school choice. I'm pro school choice, and I'm also anti illegal immigration. I think that it does disproportionately affect Black Americans. And I think that a lot of my counterparts would agree with. And I say that because those people are being sent to Black communities, they're being sent to our hoods, our neighborhoods.
Anyone else?
Well, if Trump came out tomorrow and said, I want an unlimited open border, if he came out tomorrow and said he was in favor of late stage abortion, if he came out tomorrow and said he doesn't think Black people have the capacity to succeed in this country, then I wouldn't vote for him. But chances are he won't be saying those things, and chances are I'll be supporting him.
Facts, bars. Oh my God. Yo, that man was rapping at the end. You saw that? It's crazy though. I honestly believe this. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That was like a great acro, a great way to end the video. I have nothing else to add to that. Hey, that man said everything that I believe in. It essentially is that the policy matters. I don't care about the media's deception. I don't care about the media's depictions of what he said. I don't care about people's subjective views of whether they think it's racist or not, because the minute I ask them to define it, you find out it's not racist. It's just pattern recognition. Pattern recognition doesn't equal racism. But, you know, a lot of people think that's what the case is. But hey, I digress. Let me know your thoughts about the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree with me? Do you agree that Black America needs more conservatives? Or you disagree? I'd like to hear what you guys have to say or what you guys thinking. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate you guys for watching to the end of the video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.